such a hoe for weed. I said certified stoner, 7 days a week. Green and sticky, make those lungs feel weak. Yeah, we smoking on that green and sticky. Roll that shit up in a blunt, smoke that green and sticky. Give me everything you got of that green and sticky. Burn it up, never catch a charge. Roll it fat and extra large. Put this blunt up to your face. Touch your lips like a sweet cigar. Wax on top, I wanna fly. I like that keep when it's inside. Smoke in my mouth, look in my eyes. Feeling so slumped, looking so high, back so low. Like a surprise, hit up the plug and I advertise. I want you to bring that big loud back. Drop it in my old garage. Need that green, making me scream. Out in public, smelling so mean. I don't cook, I don't clean. I order that takeout like a king. Roll it up, light it up, smoke deep inside of me. Quick exhale for a let it get the best of me. I never ever cough unless the devil was about to be. I roll another one for a let it hit a clown on me. Talk your shit.
Network offers a diverse lineup of live video podcasts. The IWK 710 Daily Sesh, nightly at 7 p.m. Ganja News Update, Mondays at 8 p.m. Psychedelic Reporters, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Peace, News and Views, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Open Your Eye, Thursdays at 8 p.m. What's up, Northern Ontario? Spotlight on Entertainment, Movie Nights, and live on location coverage, monthly on NOK. Miss a podcast? Catch the replay anytime on Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. You can also find us on our webpage at www.noknetwork.com.
What's up, my tokers, jokers, and smokers? Welcome back to another edition of the Daily Chronicles, y'all. Today, y'all, this is an episode of the magnitude beyond measure. I give y'all my dude, Big Mike. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the show.
What's up, dude? How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Enjoying this weather.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Just had to do this outside because, look, it's beautiful.
It's fucking gorgeous, man. It really, look at that. The pinks and the greens back there. Shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. Well, no, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do excuse, but there is a couple of male peacocks wandering around here, so you'll get to catch up. You'll get to hear a little bit of that every once in a while.
Hey, listen, you let nature be what nature's going to be, right? That's always I've always said, and it's interesting because I grew up around Potter Park Zoo in Lansing, and so I would hear them constantly. And so it's interesting that I didn't pick up on that, to begin with. We were in the green room a little bit there, but hey, c'est la vie, right? No, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. I do. I want to talk about like what you've got going on. You got a lot of shit like working, and if people don't know, they absolutely should, because I think that everything that you're doing right now should be used as like a fucking guideline for people being like just halfway decent people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start. I guess
so much.
So I guess where to start is probably going to be the food truck.
Mm-hmm.
My partner and I, Julian, we a while ago, when we kind of saw how this cannabis industry was changing, both on the legacy market, caregiver market, as well as the legal side of things. We kind of thought, let's start to figure out some sort of a plan for the future that can stop yelling at me. Some sort of a plan for the future, just to say, okay, well, if this doesn't work out, like, what's our backup plan? And, I was a chef, professionally trained chef for 12 years. And, I just thought to myself, well, why not get back into cooking? Julian had a lot of great ideas when it came to the truck. His family actually manufactures the ovens that we use in France. So the company's name is Rotisserie, and they actually make like rotisserie ovens, and they actually have like a couple pizza ovens that they do, things like that. But their big focus is the rotisserie, and they've been manufacturing those since 1956. And even before that, his great grandfather was on the streets of Paris. I mean, with the wood fired little grill right there, doing rotisserie chicken by hand. So that was even back in the 30s.
It's interesting because we caught up a little bit with you there with with the food truck Love Rotisserie. Sorry, getting high before the show. And we actually have a little bit of footage. Let's go ahead and play that.
Ô Britannie, ma jolie Bretagne, je te dédie cette petite chanson. T'es bien monté comme une chaîne de montagne, t'es bien roulé comme une galette au jambon. Et si je pourrais t'emmener en Espagne pour une petite vacation, au bord de mer dans un océan de champagne, j'essaierai de noyer le poisson. Au Britannie, ma jolie campagne, parfois le soleil est un peu grognon. J'ai pas trouvé plus charmant que la Bretagne, pourtant j'en ai exploré des régions. Et si je pourrais être celui qui t'accompagne, que tu sois à Morlaix ou à Lannion. Et si un jour je me casse en Champagne, tu seras jalouse et t'auras bien raison. Thank you.
Now, I don't know about you, but honestly, that's the way that chicken should be fucking made. That's just my personal opinion. If you're looking to cook a yard bird, that's how you do it.
That guy doing the filming too, man. Like,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. I really do. But at the same time, like, you know, when we were there, I find these caveat stories of food, and I find these emotions, and I couldn't help but to be intrinsically transported when you know, Julian told the story of his family in France, you know, and the markets and the chicken. It's
The dad of my grandmother started to be a rotisserie guy in 1930.
Like literally out in the street, just like
Yeah, like that, the big cow, you know. And little by little, they went in the market, and it became a big company. And in 1956, my granddad get the company from my grandmother's dad, and he created Rotisserie, which now it's an international company, and it's actually the first one who brought the rotisserie chicken machine like that in the USA. There was no.
it's like you're there at a food bazaar. I think that we should definitely have. I think farmers markets are great. Don't get me wrong. I think they're fantastic. I think they need to be bigger. And I honestly, have you ever been to Eastern Market in Detroit?
I have not.
You definitely got to check it out. It's come a long way, and it is a food bazaar for all intents and purposes, man. They got food trucks on the outskirts. You can go get you a bite to eat, go shop for your groceries. It's a hell of a weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah, we actually just our application was accepted to the Fulton Street Farmers Market. So not only do we have the food trailer that we can, you know, pull up anywhere and something like that, but with we also have like a market setup that we did. And with that market setup, you know, we, you know, have a full rotisserie oven that we put out there to do the whole chickens, not just a spatchcock, warming table, you know, hand washing sink, the whole setup. And yeah, I mean, we want to really, you know, focus on a lot on doing like those two, you know, as well as, you know, we have Food Truck Friday events, and, you know, we have, you know, Michigan Gems and Genetics, and a lot of like different little events here and there that, you know, just, you know, keeps us busy for sure.
You know, busy is good. Idle hens, you know, is the devil's playground, or however that fucking saying goes. But the fact is, you know, I've had your chicken. Your chicken is fucking great. You know, overall, the food was amazing. And it's one thing to be able to film that and show it to people, because they're going to ask, hey, where did this come from? I'm the type of person where, I'm sorry to my vegan and vegetarian friends, but I want to know where my meat comes from and, you know, what's happening to it. So if you're going to butcher a chicken and feed it to me, by all means, just don't tell me its name.
Right.
You know, I don't want to know its name. But at the same time, you know, that's not all you've got going on, man. You know, you and I have been talking about a lot of farming that you've got going on and shit. What's the plans with that?
So actually right over here next to me, well, I mean, even when it comes to vegetable gardening, I mean, I have Rogue River Farms right here on the property, and you know, vegetables. We're gonna do a lot of flowers this year. Just got a little caught up in the little cannabis farm that I'm gonna be taking care of. So, you know, managing a vegetable and flower farm here at the house like doesn't really feel viable right now. So I'm just gonna do like a little Three Sisters garden, and, you know, with the salsa garden, and then do lots of flowers just to make sure that the soil stays good. But yeah, we also got consulted to do a farm. It's down south of Battle Creek, and it's right now it's 4 acres, but we're currently expanding it. We're gonna do 6,000 plants out there.
Oh shit!
So 6,000 outdoor plants. I mean, you know, just using the knowledge that we have, as you know, Julie and I have both been growing for quite a long time, and you know, this farm, you know, kind of had something going on before, and, you know, they kind of like shut it down for a moment just to kind of regroup and, you know, make sure that they were going to be able to do it right, you know. So right. It's a big investment, you know. I mean, you know, dirt alone is, I mean, even bringing in dirt alone is $200,000. You know, I mean, and that's I mean, that, you know, ground cover, we're at 23,000. I mean, you know, fencing, posts, irrigation. I mean, irrigation's huge. You know, we got to have a couple of big stock tanks, and, you know, it's a lot of work, and we're going to be really pushing for the next few weeks. But at the same time, I mean, you know, it's what has to happen if you're going to do something right, you know. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, the way that translates into the kitchen, listen, you can't make a very good chicken stock, as you well know, in a few minutes. You know, it's going to take time. Absolutely. And dude, I'm excited to see that shit. You know, I love putting my hands in the dirt. I'm not afraid to get dirty, literally, you know, and A quick question though, with everything going on cannabis-wise in the state of Michigan, you said 6,000 outdoor plants. I'm curious, what class license is that?
So a Class C recreational license allows you 2,000 plants.
2,000.
So that's gonna be 3 Class C licenses. We also have hoop houses that we have to do some modifications to, and I think that what we're end up doing is we'll end up taking and doing those hoop houses as well, just because it doesn't make sense just to run the outdoor when we have those hoop houses. They're just sitting there. We have the facility. There's a whole indoor facility processing. They have everything that we need in order to really be successful. So we're just going to start with this. Make sure that we have our feet under us real good, and then we're just going to move on from there.
That's it. And and you're building foundations, man. You're building foundations to get shit done. And I've always admired that about you. I've seen the diligence. I've seen the way that I've seen it laid out. It makes sense to me. I'm not like, how the fuck is he going to do this? He's one guy, or how I've seen this, man. And right. Honestly, that's a respectable and commendable thing, to see nowadays, especially with like the way that this fucking state is.
Yeah. It reminds me of a meme that I've seen recently, and it just said, the meme is kind of like, oh, you're so lucky for what you have. It's like, no, like I worked my ass off for this.
I worked fucking my ass off.
I've gone through all the trials. I've even when I was I worked at GrowCo Indoor Garden Supply in Grand Rapids for a while, and I was there for 4 years. And when people would come in, I'd just tell them, I was like, you don't have to listen to me, but I can tell you how not to fuck up because I've done it 1,000 times. Every single possible way of fucking up, I've done it, and I can tell you how not to. That's for sure.
I feel that failure. Excuse me. I feel that failure is part of the fucking lesson. Okay, because absolutely. Much like you. In everything that I've done, I've fucked up more ways than one. I've fucked up so gloriously that I had no other choice but to continue. Same as you. Like, fail literally means a first attempt in learning. I'm convinced. I'm convinced.
And I'll happily tell people this all the time. But it's like I readily accept failure. It's like people. I think people are afraid of failure, and they let that hold them back because they're not there's like, oh well, if I try this and it doesn't work, then I'm disappointing myself or I'm disappointing somebody else or whatever else. And it's like without those failures, without trying, how are you ever gonna know?
Exactly. I think that we've been indoctrinated as people to be afraid of learning, to be afraid of failing. Think about it. And when we're in school, no matter what school you're in, whether private, public, it doesn't matter. You fear the wrath of being late or tardy, detention and all of that shit. You're chastised for that. Your creativity is limited, and you're told what you can and can't do inside the confines of a certain building. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time discerning the differences between a prison and a fucking high school.
Right.
Like it's set up strategically the same, and I don't know if that's a comfortable environment to fail. If I'm being honest with you,
they set schooling up in a very specific way so they can, kind of train, children at a younger age about how to wake up on time and how to do this and do that, and then just like push you to a factory, and the whole idea of our culture of being. It has this idea of like, okay, what's that peacock?
Yeah, he gets it. He's like, fuck, getting up early, right?
Yeah. It's just the whole idea of, the way that things are kind of structured too in our society is, and I was following that, it's like go to school, then, you get out of high school, then you go to college and you try to pick a career at 18 years old or figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life at 18 years old. Like, you don't know what you want to do and what you're going to be good at. And it takes time to be able to develop those things. And then get out of college and, get married and then have kids and buy a house. And, that whole structure to me I was always really, after experiencing it and doing it, I just feel like it's like, that is not, I tell my kids all the time, I'm just like, I just want you guys to be happy. I'm not going to, force you or push you to try to, do things that you don't want to do. I want you to just be happy, figure out what you want to do with your life and, do it to the best of your ability. As long as you're not hurting yourself or somebody else, run with it.
I wish more people looked at it that way. I really do, because, I feel that the indoctrination in the school system today is pushing us to become autonomous, just worker bees. Keep your head down, 9 to 5. That is your life. Well, we weren't born to work all day. We weren't created to do that. And honestly, and it's funny we should be talking about this. I've always been broke, money wise. I was a cook my entire life. Let's be honest. I never made a lot of money, and what money I did have, like, I've already spent my paycheck before it happened just to fucking live outside of work, and so learning. Sorry, go ahead.
Same here, dude. Like, it's just like super irresponsible.
Failure, right? But at the same time, like, it got to the point where as I grew older, I failed more, and I figured out, hey, I probably shouldn't have spent all of the money in booze, or maybe don't buy so many Pokemon cards at the age of 19. You know what I mean? So it's like smart investment. I didn't know then, but at the same time, like, we're not taught these things because at 18 you're allowed to vote and pay taxes. Well, here's the fucked up part. Did you know that before you're 18 on your paychecks, and think about this, you were paying taxes, but you weren't supposed to?
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
Think about that. And that's why a lot of times in the households, if you were, W-2, which most people are, then your parents had to claim you just so that it was, whatever. Well, that's my point. That's fucked. You're not supposed to be paying taxes before you're 18. So let's talk about that, A. So B, the reason that it's indoctrinated that way is because they can control and manipulate it better. You know what I mean? That's the truth of it. Like, bringing it back to
all systems of control,
100%.
Create laws, and even when it comes to the touchy subject of religion, there was, I think that at one point they were like, well, we can be the bad guys here, but if there's something, if there's a higher power that is the one telling you that you can't do these things, maybe that'll work out a lot better.
I want to talk about religion just real quick, and I want to point out something that I seen and heard about in a news article, and this happened. So there was okay, before I continue on, what I'm about to tell you does not reflect the views of the show or my personal views at all. I'm just telling you what I seen and what the report was. It's kind of weird, but so in the South, I forget where, it was somewhere in the South, there was a certain, I don't want to call it a mega church, but a well-known big church that threw on, I think it was a boys' retreat or a men's retreat, some kind of retreat for their people, right? Congregation. And so in this retreat, they had like the lights, the stages, like it was a rock show, dog. Like it was very well put together. I was impressed. I was like, shit, that's a lot of entertainment value, and then there was a strum of the guitar, everyone's screaming, and the lead singer goes, oh, something, 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 and says something. And then they play the sounds, and the lights and the smoke, of machine gun fire. And then below the lead singer in a stage, a fucking tank comes just rolling out and drives over 2 cars. Now, here's my problem with that. All of that was paid for by the church, tax-free. You see what I'm saying? So everything that they just did was 100% tax-free. Everything's a tax write-off for them. Now, that doesn't make any sense to me. How can you sit there and write that off on your taxes, being a church, but not actually pay taxes? That part. Now, that bothers me. In addition to, with religion, hey, study whatever you want. That's absolutely fine. A lot of people that do study religion, that are religious themselves, that are my friends, all agree that churches should pay taxes. That's not even a question. You know what I mean? But the other part of it is, I think that it's a little bit uncouth right now with all of the shootings happening in the United States. And I own a firearm. With all the weapons in the United, with all of that shit going on, I don't know if a church should be, a tank, really, like,
Right.
That's a bit much.
Speaking of the firearms thing, I did happen to, unfortunately, lost all of my firearms in a boating accident. Yeah, it was sad.
How? Okay, now you got to explain that. How? How?
It's just a classic joke between gun owners that, you obviously don't lose any guns during boating accidents.
Right.
So
fair enough. That's a joke I didn't know about. No, now my father would probably know that, but at the same time, like, I will be honest, I own a firearm. I don't see a reason not to. I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I go to the range every month, but I do sight it in. I do fire the weapon. Everyone in my home knows how to fire it.
Be comfortable with it, know it. I do the. I've had my kids shoot and learn how to properly. You have to know the right things to do. And there's a lot of people that are really afraid of guns, and I think that with education, it could be, it's a good tool to have in your arsenal.
I agree.
To have gun knowledge and to just know, how to safely fire and how to where the safety is and how to
the business end, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Keep your booger hook off the bang button.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Fucking booger hook. Every time I hear that shit. But that's the truth. I grew up in the South, man. I grew up we didn't go to the range. We just went in the backyard. You know what I mean? Bunch of glass bottles. Obviously clean it up and shit. But it was responsible. That's the truth. We weren't firing at each other. We were responsible because you understand that, listen, guns don't kill people. Let's be honest. You can leave a fucking Glock on a table and it's not going to just randomly go off and shoot somebody. That's not how that works, okay?
Right.
That's why, I don't think that, and not to make this about guns, but I don't think that we need to tighten gun control. Yeah, there's some things that we need to probably, do a little bit more research and look into. But all of that is exactly what you're saying. Education. It's we got to educate this. But I think that it's not just guns in this country that we need to educate people about. Going back to the school system, I think that we should talk about how to fucking pay taxes in school, and what that is. I mean, if you're already paying taxes in high school and don't realize that you shouldn't be paying taxes, that's kind of a red flag.
Right. Exactly.
So government, if you're listening, which you fucking are, if you want us to continue paying taxes, then teach us how to do it properly, because I'm fucking sick of going, all right, IRS, how much do I owe you a year? Oh, we don't know. Okay.
No, but you got to guess what it is, and if you guess wrong, then
you're in trouble.
But,
right.
Yeah, we're gonna put you in jail. We're gonna fine you or whatever.
We're gonna send these new 87,000 IRS agents against. You're fucking kidding me. Anyways, I look at it this way. Okay, let's look at it as debt, right? So debt is a monetary amount that you owe. Okay. Yes, you can accrue more debt, of course, but let's say I owe you $20, but you tell me if I don't pay you back, it's going to be $25 and then go up from there. That is legal. Right. That is legal because I know that late fees, shit happens, right? However, if you tell me, okay, you owe me a debt and it's a certain percentage thereof, that's not legal because it's a percentage. It's not an actual dollar amount. That's a different story. Yeah. That's my point. With taxes, it's not a dollar amount that you owe. It's a percentage of what you make.
Right.
That's illegal.
You're talking about, getting taxed on labor alone. You're getting taxed on your labor. Just think about that for a second. It's insane the way that, that's all structured. It's interesting as when I talk to Julian, he's been in the United States for 4 years now. He moved from Paris, and the way they have things set up there is completely different. Where you kind of build points. It's kind of based on a point system. It's really interesting. Okay. How they kind of structure things. You're still paying taxes and stuff like that, but you're also working towards a certain thing. And then people that work for, and do more high, high risk jobs, that something that's more high risk, then you can get double points. So you're doing a higher risk job that's more dangerous or whatever else, but then you earn double points. So you could be retired at 40 years old, and then after you're retired at that point, you're set. You're point system. You clear the point system, and then you're set for life. the rest of your life.
I like that. That makes sense versus what we're doing here in America, where you bust your ass until 10 years before you die, and then they shove you in a fucking nursing home, and then they charge you thousands of dollars a month. It's extortion at its finest. But I digress about that. There's not enough weed in the world to fucking, that's a headache that's just not going away. But I look at it this way: as long as we have good people like yourself, and other people to be, that you work with, like Julian, I think we're going the right way. I think we're doing a good thing, because honestly, we're fighting the same fucking person, the Uncle Sam with the tax dollars and shit, the powers that be, some people would call it. But I feel that as long as we remain diligent and we remain true in what we do, it carries through. And dude, you can definitely, tell that in everything that you're doing. Rouge River Farms, the food truck, fucking everything, man. Honestly, you can taste that in the chicken. I've seen it. I've seen the way that you work. It tells me everything I need to know.
It's going to be interesting, with the cannabis industry. I mean, what's going to happen? I think that what happened this past year is a lot of people went to fresh frozen. I mean, you're cutting way back on your labor costs when it comes to trimming. There's a lot of flower on the market currently anyway. But they mean as much smokable flower as possible, obviously. But then, I think that what a lot of people did was, went live resin. So they went fresh frozen, went live resin, so it flooded the market with live resin. But then distillate wasn't even there anymore. So then distillate became harder to come by, and it became, and the prices started coming up. And then, and there's a lot of, brokers out there that, there's a rumor that, the brokers have, done something to say that there was going to be a massive recall, and that, there's a big company that, does a lot of processing, it starts with a T, as looking at a possible recall on all their products, and which, they pushed so much distillate into the market that, those products could affect so many products. Because you're talking vape pens, you're talking gummies, you're talking, just all
edibles,
the
period. Yep.
Yeah. It's just, it's like just a bunch of hot dog water all over the place, but the interesting part about it is just the way that this market has kind of jumped around. And, I think that it's going to be interesting what's going to happen next year, because we're talking about, okay, well, what are we going to do with these plants? We want to get as much smokable flower as possible is going to be, key. That increases our labor, of course, to go through trimming and things like that, and drying process. It's a lot more intensive than just doing some biomass, where you can just zap some biomass in a hemp dryer and, run it for distillate. But it's, is that going to be the play? What's going to be, what are we going to do with all our excess? And that's where we talk about it a lot, and just, we'll obviously figure it out as we go. I think this summer is going to be a good summer. And, I think that, the flower that we're going to have on that field is going to be amazing. So, I have no doubts whatsoever. Our chief operating officer is out in California. He owns a company in Santa Cruz, called Pacific Reserve. And he, he knows all the ins and outs of doing the outdoor farms, and it's really great having him, especially on our team, to, be able to bounce ideas off of, and just, you kind of learn off of a lot of what he's, has to offer, which is amazing. So
it's always good to have someone like that in your corner,
Absolutely. And that's why this company, hired him to come in and, kind of oversee cultivation, because he's got it locked in out there, man, I tell you.
And you can tell that, when a person walks, when you walk into the grow operation, you can see it. You can see how fucking dialed in it is, and it's insane seeing that, and it's I look forward to seeing what your field produces. I look forward to, the positive things and the progression of the food truck. It's to the point where, shit, like, if there's a chicken being cooked, let me know. Just watching the rotisseries work themselves, to me, is mesmerizing. It makes me cool? Just so feels better about the world.
That spatchcock, especially, the spatchcock oven, it's, 27 chickens in 25 minutes. The technology that they have into those things are pretty incredible. They've come a long way. The infrared burners, the speed at which they do it, so they know exactly, it's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, I'm never gonna fucking hate on that. It's very impressive, and I think that a lot of Americans and a lot of people here could learn a thing or two. But speaking about coming a long way, we've reached that part of the show. It's question time. I don't fucking know what we're gonna call this, but we're just gonna refer to it as question time. So, Mike, I have 3 cards in my hand, man. I'm gonna, kind of shuffle them up, shuffle them up, shuffle them up, shuffle them up. Okay. You have left, center, and right. Pick one.
Well, I want to pick the one that's not the question I don't want to answer. So,
right?
Let's just go middle.
Middle? Okay. Well, this one it may or may not be the one you don't want to answer, but we're going to find out.
Get ready for what's in your bowl.
Is that the question?
No, it's fine.
No.
That's
all right, cool. So, Mike, what's in your bowl, man? What are you smoking?
Interesting fact about me is that I've been growing for a long time, and at one point I really kind of developed an allergy to cannabis, and I stopped partaking for a while, and got my asthma under control and things like that. But I did a lot of allergy injections for a long time, and whatever compound that is in cannabis that I was allergic to must have been taken care of with those allergy injections, because I'm back to being able to smoke again, which is kind of crazy.
There it is.
And they do say that allergies kind of reset every 7 years, but I know that allergy injections probably help that a lot too.
Hey man, I can see that helping though.
I think the last thing that I really enjoyed smoking was a really old classic, organically grown Larry OG.
Ooh, okay.
Some really nice gas to it. I mean, it's not that the newer classic, for flower these days is it's shaved, rock hard, that's kind of what everybody has kind of come to expect, because runts kind of took over the market for so long.
Right.
But this was done really well, and it was gifted to me by a friend named Dallas. That's part of Big Farms when I was at an event, and it was really nice.
Absolutely, dude. Listen, I've heard a lot of things about some great fucking Larry OG. I've heard Larry Burger. I've heard about that. That was pretty good. I had that once or twice.
Maybe a Han Solo burger cross or something. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. So I definitely will have to get together sometime, and I'll have to try some more of that. I'm not going to say no to it. You know what I mean? For sure. But like, absolutely, and that's the thing. So if you're going to smoke it, are you smoking a joint, blonde? What are you doing?
Honestly, I really like bubblers. It's a classic glass bubbler. It's it's kind of my go-to. Smoking a joint when I'm outside and kind of moving around. But if I'm sitting down to wind down for the evening or something like that, it's go right to the bubbler.
Hell yeah, dude. But I have to get a new bubbler. We had one, I dropped it, it broke. It is what it is. I do a lot of dabs, so like I have those rigs, but I don't have, like you're saying, like that Sherlock bubbler, you know what I mean? I'll definitely have to get one. But hell yeah, man. I mean, fuck. This was a pretty fucking a great conversation. I look forward to many more that we're gonna have, man. I appreciate you guys you coming on the show.
I wanted to also make sure that I said congratulations for your new film production company.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. Seriously, like that's it's a big leap for us. We're obviously we film all kinds of crazy shit, but we're gonna be having a 420 friendly section and a non 420 for those people as well. But yeah, you guys check it out. II Productions, it's coming. We'll link the Facebook. We'll throw it up scrolly here or something cool. But you guys, my tokers, my jokers, my smokers, this has been another amazing episode of the Daily Chronicles. I want to thank Mike for coming on the show, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man,
you guys go. Oh, absolutely. Go check out Rotisserie. Make sure you catch that. You're going to see it all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Check out, what he's got going on with Rouge River Farms. And honestly, I'm excited for this fucking, this Class C, these 3 Class C's in these hoops houses, man. I'm going to get some footage of that for sure.
Yeah. But I released the name of the company, but I want to say it's a really big company out of Illinois that's got a lot going on. So,
hey, no worries. We'll get there. We'll find out that name soon. But all right, my tokers, jokers, and smokers. This is the end of the Daily Chronicles, y'all. We'll catch you on the flip. Peace.